Today's question is, how has being a mom of 5 shaped my fitness journey? So I had our first child in 2012. I was 20 at the time, and back then I was not very active, but after I had him, I wanted to lose the weight, and get back to a normal size. My now husband and I did separate for 8 months after we had him. See, he was a year and a half, I think. And so in that time, I used working out as a way to cope with our situation. And I did a lot of the Beachbody programs and worked out quite a bit in my sister's basement. And I got to 174 pounds, and that was less than what I weighed when I graduated high school in 2010, which was crazy. But whenever I was working out, it was a way to just mentally disappear. I would forget everything, and it made me feel really strong working out all the time. But as I continued, it was 3 years. We got back together after 8 months, and then we were pregnant with our second child shortly after that. And then after that, it was, pregnant or breastfeeding for the next 7 years. And there were many times where, walking has always been my go-to most of my life because I enjoy walking. I enjoy going on trails and just being out in nature and enjoying the weather. So walking has always been something that I've loved doing. When I lived at my sister's, I walked. When I lived, every single house that I've lived in, we've walked around the town. And it's always been something that I've been able to do. With the boys lately, we have been there's a campground that's not too far from here. We go to that campground and there's a playground. And a lot of times they will play on the playground and I will walk around the campground. So it's really small. I can literally hear them from the opposite side of the campground. But I'll walk around and I'll just keep making loops and I'll check in on them while they're at the playground. And that seems to be really helpful for me. I did start investing in gym equipment for our house because I've done at-home workouts most of the time. The closest gym to our house is 12 miles, 10 miles, 12 miles. But it's, that's a decent drive if you're just going for a 30-minute workout. And it is a free gym, thankfully, so I can go over there at any time. But you can't always rely on the equipment there because it's free. It's hand-me-down equipment. And it's one of those things that, I would rather do the workout here. We got a bench so that we could do bench press stuff. And oh my gosh, all sorts of different things on this bench. But that kind of helped with my journey. And I got dumbbells. I just recently got 15 pound dumbbells, and I've been working on increasing my limits. My upper body strength is terrible. It's always been terrible. I remember a time when I went to our cabin that we go to every single year, and we went tubing, and my uncle was like, pull yourself up onto the boat after I was done, and I tried to push, with my arms and push myself up into the boat, and I had nothing. I could not do it at all. And he goes, give me your arm. And he took my right arm and this man pulled me up out of that water just by my arm, just completely. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have the worst upper body strength. So that's been something that I've tried to work on quite a bit over the last, how many years? I don't even know. It's been, geez Louise, he'll be 13 this year. My oldest will be 13. That's crazy to think about. But we just recently invested in a home gym system where it's got cables that connect to a stack of weights, and you can do all sorts of things. You can do leg press, you can do bench press, you can do chest flies, you can do curls. I can't even think of all the name of the things, but it's a whole all-in-one system that you can do all of the things. And I truly enjoy it because, one, it's controlled. Two, it came with stickers that tell you, different things that you can do to be able to work out different parts of your body, and it shows you the muscles that it works out as well. And to me, you know, I could just go in there and sit down, you know, and do 3 sets of one thing and it's good. Like I don't have to spend 2 hours working out on this machine to make it worth it. I don't know why I've always had that mindset of like, if you can't do an hour, then why do anything at all? But in reality, if you work your muscles at all, like that is a good thing. It's not all or nothing in workout. It's not all or nothing in health and fitness. Like if you eat one bad meal, they say it's kind of like, you know, your tires. If you get one flat tire, you're not going to go pop the other 3. Like you're going to try and fix that one tire. Same with getting healthy. If you eat one bad meal, you're not just going to eat, you know, bad meals the rest of the day. You're going to try the next one. You're going to try and do better. It's not, oh goodness, it's not an all or nothing thing when you're on this journey. It's, you know, do what you can with what you have until you can do better, and then, you know, continue to keep learning and keep growing and keep doing better. I believe with the 5 boys, they inspire me to get stronger because they want to be strong. There's so many times where they've told me that they do sit-ups. They have sit-up competitions upstairs and they do push-up competitions. Like they want to work out. They want to be strong. And I know with them being skinnier and not being able to gain weight as easy, that is one of the things, you know, they'd rather have muscle instead of being skinny. So that way, like they can control how much muscle they have on their body. They can't control how much fat they have on their body. I mean, I don't know, because they eat a lot and it doesn't look like it at all. You can't even tell that they eat, but they inspire me. And I know they love riding their bikes. We went to that campground last year during the summer quite a bit, honestly, and they rode their bikes and I jogged by the youngest one. I'm hoping that as I get better at running, I can run with them or I can ride a bike with them. I just worry about riding a bike with them because, you know, if something happens, I don't have my 2, like I have to control my bike and their bike at the same time. So I don't really know how I would manage that situation, but we'd figure it out. But I would love to be able to ride bikes with them on trails. I know there's a few trails that are in towns close to our town, and be fun to just pack it all up and go and ride our bikes together on those trails. Because I love anything that I can do with them. Like they make it fun. We find ways to make things fun. Whenever they rode their bikes and I ran, like Riley and I, we would race. My youngest and I, we would race. And he couldn't go very fast because he's got a little tiny bike, you know, the tiny little wheels. And it was fun to just be able to jog beside him and go the same speed as him. But as they get older and they get more independent, I can imagine that, I mean, the older ones, they're in sports at school, so they want to be strong for those sports and be able to do those things at the school. We go down to the basketball court and we play basketball. We did, what was it, 2-on-2. I think it was me and the oldest, and then Milo and Sawyer, so the next 2. But we played 2-on-2, and that was a ton of fun. I can imagine as the other 2 get older too and get tall enough to shoot the baskets. We have one of the hoops lowered all the way down, and I don't know if anybody else uses it, but we have it lowered all the way down so that they can use it. Princeton and Riley were both shooting hoops one day. Riley doesn't have enough oomph yet to get it up to the hoop, but he definitely tries. But it works perfectly for Princeton and Sawyer because they don't have enough oomph to get it to the highest hoops. But it's fun to be able to go, you know, we played 2-on-2 at that hoop. You know, you just go back up to the top and reset. And I look forward to being able to play, you know, 3-on-3 as those 2 get older and add them to our teams and just mix up the teams all the time and just basically learn like team skills together and be able to play together as a family and have a ton of fun. We like to play baseball together as well. Oh no. Hold on. I reset my thing here. Give me a second. Okay. But yeah, as they learn and they get older, I look forward to doing things with them, and I look forward to like learning their strengths and their weaknesses and being able to help them in different areas of their lives as well. I hope to continue doing 5Ks, you know, maybe one day we'll be able to do a 5K all together as a family. That would be a ton of fun. I know some places have, like a shorter distance. We could probably do that as well, but it's nice to have them by my side. I know for me, when I was growing up, we were encouraged to go outside and play, but our parents never played with us. A lot of times they use that time, to clean house or, whatever, which I understand. They were working parents. They were out of the home most of the time during the week, and then, had a little bit of time in the evening during the week. And then on the weekends was their time to power clean. But with me being a stay-at-home mom, I kind of have that time to take care of the house and take care of things around here while the boys are at school. And then when they get home, I can focus on them. And on the weekends, I can focus on them as well. Granted, we still do like chores. They do chores whenever they get home from school. But any way that I can include them or I can, help them learn and grow, I'm here for it. And I'll always be I always want to be with them in the things. Yesterday, our oldest was able to go and ride his bike with a friend, and that to me is scary. I was never able to go ride my bike. I didn't have as much freedom when I was a kid. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm a girl. I'm not really sure the reasonings behind it, but having boys my husband, he said he was allowed to ride his bike all over town and do a lot of things by himself. So he wants to give our boys a lot of the freedoms that he had, but it's allowing them to do that and giving them the space. That's difficult for me. I can take the physical pain, but the mental and emotional, there's a big difference there. And I know it'll over time, it'll get better. And as, the other ones get older too and are able to go together with them, I always want either my son to be with a friend or my boys to be together, so that if something happens, there's someone else there that can kind of support them or, get a hold of someone so that they're not just laying there. Our oldest went down to the basketball court to play with a friend, and I had messaged him after he left and told him, text me when you get there. And he'd already set his phone down at the basketball court and was already playing. So I opened our window because the basketball court isn't very far from our house. And I just opened the window and was just listening, hoping not to hear him screaming because they have to cross a main road. There's a fly caught in my curtain. Sorry, distracted. But I opened my window hoping not to hear him screaming in the road. And I know that's so terrible, but my brain catastrophizes everything. If something bad can happen, my brain will think of it. And sometimes it's hard to pull myself out of that. It'll continue until I'm full on sobbing, in the moment, feeling everything that I would feel if that would happen. But that's something that, I've had to work on as well with them getting older. Let's see. Challenges. So one of the things I know whenever they were little, it was a struggle for me to be able to fit time. And it kind of goes back to the all or nothing mindset. I believed that I had to have an hour to be able to do something. And it really helped. I did do Girl with Joe workouts here on YouTube, and those were super helpful. They're still super helpful. She has all sorts of different time limits that you can do. There's 10-minute workouts, there's 45-minute workouts. I'm pretty sure she even has 90-minute workouts. But those ones, they were so simple to be able to do, and I could pause it, go take care of a kid, and whatever I needed to do, with it being at home, it was so easy to just turn it on whenever. I could turn it on early in the morning, I could turn it on in the middle of the day, in the evening before I went to bed, whatever. It was perfect to be able to work into my schedule on my time. But over time, I was I'm just moving my body. And I know body weight is as effective, but I wanted to be able to lift weights and build muscle. She did start including weightlifting things in some of her routines, which was cool. I haven't tapped back into that because I don't have much floor space in my bedroom. I know, excuses. But that's one of the things that I truly love doing. A lot of times, you see people on TikTok or whatever lifting their children, and that is a really good way to incorporate them. and, have them included in your time, because I know some people use kids as an excuse, and I did a lot whenever I first started out because, they were little. I also struggled with postpartum depression, so that kind of changed things a little bit too. And mentally, I feel like I went into a fog after I had our second child, and, everything just kind of blurred together. If I wasn't, pregnant, I was breastfeeding, and that takes a lot of mental and emotional and physical time from you as well. But after I had our last child, it was almost as if I just sat down finally for the first time in a really long time. And, once he became a toddler, more independent, out of diapers, he didn't need me as much. And I was like, okay, now what am I going to do? I need to find a new, hobby, essentially. Having kids was, my hobby. That sounds so weird. But, essentially, my life revolved around everything that they needed. And then, when they became independent, I'm like, I don't know what to do. So walking and working out became that, time, I don't even know what to call it. But that's what I started doing in that time. And it was kind of nice, though, to finally be able to take care of myself and not feel guilty. I know whenever they were little, I felt guilty for taking care of myself for anything. Showering, I felt guilty. Napping, I felt guilty. Anything that mom guilt is something else. But I just kept going and, trying. That's one thing they say. If you never stop, you never, you can never fail. And I've never completely stopped, walking. I've always walked, even when I had the boys, I would take them out in strollers. We'd go up to the horse track that's not too far from here. And I would walk with them in strollers, or the other ones in bikes. And we would just go around the track as many times as possible. And I've constantly worked on myself. I've never truly stopped, but now, it's more of let's get a little bit serious. It's still not the all or nothing. As long as I can do something, I still have my calendar and I still do hearts for every time that I'm active. And I don't limit it to, if I walked for 10 minutes or if I lifted for 10 minutes. Like yesterday, we did a lot of rearranging around the house, and I included that as my active for the day, because I'm like, it was a good solid, I don't know how many hours. We were moving stuff and resituating stuff. We redid our pantry, we did our kitchen, we did our, I think we did our office for a little bit, but yeah. And I know we have a dumpster coming soon to do spring cleaning, and that will count as my activity for the day. It doesn't have to be, an hour in the gym for it to be active, or an hour walking. It can be 10 minutes of, consistently moving. Vacuuming sometimes, I count that as being active for the day, because it takes quite a bit to vacuum, the living room, the upstairs, the stairs, the entryway, all the different spaces in our house. And I'm moving my body, I'm doing something productive. It still counts. And it's okay to count that as being active for the day. I still try to do a little bit of lifting. I'll go in and I'll do, one move, do 5 rounds or something, depending on how I lift and what the weights are and stuff. But yeah, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Every step in the right direction is a bonus. It's, it's good for you, especially when it comes to your health. A lot of people, I have a group called the Not So Serious health and wellness group, because it doesn't have to be, every meal is chicken and rice, or every meal is perfectly clean. You can have your candy bar every now and then. I'm not saying I eat a candy bar every single meal, every single day, but it doesn't have to be so strict to where you absolutely hate taking care of yourself. I want to enjoy taking care of myself. Get out of my picture. Oh my gosh. I can't even cut that out. You're so bad. Ignore that. Hopefully YouTube doesn't shut me down. But remember, I want to encourage any of you that watch to the end to leave the key phrase, and the key phrase for this video is strong moms inspire. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.